This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 126, The Power of Sticking to the Well-Lit Path. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you get started in the right direction, I've created a free strategic plan for you, and it's waiting over at freeagentgift.com. If you do nothing more than download the infographic so you have a big picture of how the whole business works so that you can begin to work on it and make it better for yourself, do that at least. All right, let's get started. The power of sticking to the well-lit path. By the way, the path that's well-lit is the plan. Thanks to Allison in our mastermind as we were pounding away training. So we were training on our buyer and seller plan, which is the core and fundamental way that we approach buyers and sellers at the Realty Classroom. We train so the brain gets this repetition where it remembers, I have a plan, I have a plan, I have a plan. In fact, we say, and we try to get all of not just our mastermind members, but the folks that are on their teams and their companies to say, well, why you? Because I have a plan. Very simple. So it's the same thing here at the Realty Classroom. Why would you ever listen to this podcast? Because I have a plan. And I'm executing it here every week with my mastermind members. And then I come to the podcast and I share some of the best ideas. But those ideas fit nicely into that strategic plan that I give you so that you can see what I'm talking about. Freeagentgift.com, if you have that printed out, you can say, okay, this week he's talking about sticking to the well-lit path. What path? The buyer and the seller plan. Where do those fit in? Well, those fit into the bridge between the marketing module and the conversion module. Those are the materials that we use. So at least you have a framework for seeing, oh, he's talking about that piece of the plan. And that's what the Realty Classroom podcast is about, sharing the ideas that come up, but we never make it up. We don't make it up. I mean, imagine trying to make up your business every week. I know a lot of you are doing that, and it pains me to think that it's true, but it is because I did the same. So let's get into this, okay? That's the first point. Number one is the dangers of always being in a hurry. See, when we get our real estate license, and I'm thinking of Jen, one of the gals that has joined the Griffin Realty Group, my actual real brokerage, where we do this. So I don't just teach it, I actually do it. Well, Jen came in, and Jen's a go-getter. And she just wanted to get after it and be successful. And she was in a hurry. Then I have another mastermind member, and Eli, and he came in, and he's also in a hurry. So it doesn't really matter, new or veteran. Everybody's in a hurry. And so was I at one point in time. I mean, and I had a real reason. A lot of people have reasons. Some, they just want to be successful. And in Jen's case, she's been playing mom full time and wants to get back in the real world and be successful quickly. Eli has a family to support and a relationship that's getting serious and going to the next level of marriage. So, it's that sense of, I better hurry up. I better be successful. So we're always in a hurry. And I was the same. When I first got started in this business, I was coming out of a failing business, and I had to get into some other industry, and I had a stack of 500 business cards, and I was in a hurry. Well, as I look back now with a more mature brain and a much more managed perspective, meaning as a manager, I now understand that's really the first perspective we all need is there a model within which I can manage my own situation? Sure, I still may be in a hurry and need to be successful. See, a lot of people, when they first come to me for help, will dismiss me. They don't understand I am them. I definitely was one of them, going Mach 10 with my hair on fire, trying to win every trophy at Realty Executives, but more importantly, be successful quickly because I knew what I was capable of. And it was ridiculous. It was absurd. You're always crashing into walls. It's like the tail is wagging the dog, meaning every time a buyer or a seller just whimsically came up with something and then you're over-serving them outside of the well-lit path, as I might say now, that's a problem. So being in a hurry doesn't serve business people. Being aggressive, sure, helps as long as it's in the context of an actionable plan that is clear. And no plan is perfect. So you have a plan that is sort of starts with an observation of how the world really works. Let's pretend you never were in this business before and you didn't have me or you didn't have a brokerage that gave you some idea of how the business worked. You could observe it. You could get your license, hang it at a brokerage, and go to every single broker open tour and see the inventory. Then you could stop in at open houses and watch buyers, sellers, buyers agents, sellers agents. You could see how it was all working. Then you could eavesdrop or shadow somebody who was writing an offer. So you could do your own work in trying to see how the business works. And the smartest thing would be to do that and then to document it. And then as you began to see, you got more curious, how did you find those people? I see that real buyers were coming through the door at the open house. What did you do to convert them? You could go through all of that and begin to see there's just a universal way things work. And do the same at a pizza shop. You could sit in the back of a Domino's Pizza, Little Caesars, or mom and pop shop and watch how everything happens and document it. That would at least be the slowing down of trying to do it. Just go make the pizza. Just go sell the house. Well, the business side of it doesn't work like that. That's the technical component that happens. So what's the point? Slow down. Please, slow down. At least listen to me. Slow down and listen. Okay? And that's the first piece of advice. If you're slowing down and you're listening to the podcast, or you train with me, train relentlessly on your plan. Train relentlessly on your plan. So I'll say as the manager, training the brain first to work on it means I would look at that infographic that I give you away at freeagentgift.com. I would look at that and say, okay, this week intentionally, which one of these modules am I not managing? And it's costing me, and I know that. So I might look at marketing and say, on a scale of 1 to 10 as a manager, how intentionally am I managing that? My conversion, bringing a contact from lead to prospect to client, how intentionally am I managing that? I could go to closing. How intentionally am I managing my closing coordinator? And how we deal with those 30 to 45 days of intensity. Am I doing a good job with my past client community? Am I managing my measurement systems? Am I managing the expansion of the company? See, those are all modules. See, I can see it in my head now very clearly. Why? I have stared at that infographic now for 8 years. And of course, I've evolved it over time, but slightly. Because once I had the big rocks in the jar as to universally how the business works and then turned it into management modules, I could see a plan. And I just trained my brain relentlessly on that. Now, let me give you some other examples of what we're talking about when it comes to the buyer and seller. So what we saw in marketing was there's that core marketing question, why should I do business with you above and beyond all other options, including doing nothing at all? Because I have a plan. Boom, it comes out of my mouth so fast. Because I have a plan. Well, doesn't everybody have a plan? Well, I can't speak for them, but if you'll sit with me for a few minutes, I'll show you my plan. In fact, I'll give you my plan. It's the what to do if you're buying. It's the what to do if you're selling. And if I'm recruiting, it's the what to do if you're an agent without me. In fact, you can have that plan. It's so important, I believe, that to put a positive footprint on the world, I want to give you a copy of my plan. Oh, you want to know how to do it with me? Okay, that's when I become of service for pay. See what I'm saying? That's when the buyer commits to work with me as a client. That's when the seller lists the property with me. That's when the agent joins the company. Then we get into how to inside that plan. There's a what to do, and then there's a how to do it. And the how to do is the paid guidance. The what to do, I'm telling you right now. I probably border on some how to do in this as well, but this is what to do. These are the things that what the brain should be thinking about. So when you're diving into that with a buyer and seller, this concept of just repeating it is so that you can see it. So right now, I know my seller plan chunked up like 5th grade level because a lot happens in my life. I have 5 kids. I have 3 businesses. Life happens. I want to enjoy it. I want to take a vacation. I don't. I want to work. I get tired, whatever. All of a sudden I say, okay, calm down. Bring it down. Don't be in a hurry. Where are we at in the seller plan? Are we at the pricing module? Or are we talking about reconditioning the property and pricing things out? Do we need the stager to come back? Do we need them to come at all? What do we need? Is my marketing plan being soundly executed? In other words, did we memorialize the property the best we could? Do we have the best pictures, the best write-up, the floor plan? Did we syndicate it properly, meaning did it go up to MLS the way we thought? Did the client sign off on it? Then from there, what happened? Did we push market it so that now we're in the communication stage where buyers are coming or not coming through the open house and we're giving the feedback to the seller? The buyer's agent they use the system and they put in their feedback. Do we talk to the seller about that? Okay, adjustments have been made. Voila. Now we get an offer. We're in negotiation stage. How are we doing there? Are we on? Is the seller listening to us? And are we in the closing phase? See, boom, what did I just do? I went through the seller plan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if something gets thrown at me, for example, what if I get an expired? Well, and I'm dealing with one right now. We got all the way, I got divorced, and unfortunately, I was upside down with the banks, and the banks, we don't know what's going on. So, okay, boom. So you got all the way to negotiation. You have a problem. I'm going to immediately get my attorney to take a look at it with you. We need payoffs and me. Boom. See what I'm saying? I can jump into my plan too in that conversation so I can be contextual because I know where we are and the well-lit path. Gentleman says to me, geez, you seem super enthusiastic that you can do this because I have a plan. Period. Because I have a plan and I am enthusiastic. I'm not overly enthusiastic. Yes, I believe there's a high probability for success, but there's some inventory that needs to be done. You're in the negotiation stage. I need to know what happened and where you left off, but I need my team in there to find it out. The buy side, somebody comes through the door and they say, we've been looking and we're using our apps and, we always seem to be late if we do it that way. And, we got into a negotiation and we don't even know what happened because we went direct to the listing agent. We got blown out. No problem. Why don't we just take a look at what sold first? Let's back this up a little bit. Okay. You see, representation is the first step in my plan. So the idea of a representative is to first talk about, is your financing in line? I know this sounds weird because you got all the way down there, but is your financing in line? Did you have a pre-approval letter? Well, no, we didn't. Well, see, that's one of the first things as a representative I go to in my plan is that we want to get that pre-approval done, and we want a real pre-approval from a real bank that's defensible because that needs to be presented with your offer in this competitive situation or you get blown out. Secondly, after that, what happens is now we have to get out there and see what that money buys. Even if you're paying cash and you have that letter from the bank manager, we need to see what that money buys, what features it buys. So we want to match you up. What did your money or money like yours you want to spend just buy in the marketplace? And what kind of negotiation did that look like? Are things in your price range bidding up 5%, 6%? Then you're not doing this in the dark. Then what we do is once we match all those up and we see these things online, let's get out and see a few of your favorites together, so that I get a better feeling of what's important to you. Then I can show you live, okay, this is going to be one of those multiple bid situations. Here's where we're at. You're going to have to be 5, 6%. And if it's out of your price range, we're out of here. It's not going to happen. You see what I'm doing is I'm going through my training, but I'm talking to them and I'm thinking about real deals. I do this every day. I'm a real broker owner. So I have my own book of business and this is what I do. So I always explain to people where they're at in the plan. And that's why when I meet somebody for the first time at an open house, and yes, I like to do open houses, because for 90 minutes, I get to be front-facing, kinesthetically together with the marketplace and giving away these plans. I gave away 2 the other day in an open house. I was there for my seller. I had some feedback. Ceilings are too low at this price. Bedrooms are too small at this price. So I think we're going to have to get to the weekend and let's find out. We might need a quick price tweak here. Like I thought, we overshot a little bit and now we're starting to atrophy. We don't want to lose this market. No problem. We believe in your plan. You hear what I said? We believe in you and your plan. That's it. So the third point here is because I'm trained relentlessly on my plan, all these contexts can fit into it like what Allison said, a well-lit path. I just know where to put them on that I actually know where they are or have been or haven't been on that well-lit path. That's a better way to say it. Now, here's the key point. And Laura, my longtime client care manager, 15 years in, will both tell you, don't cheat your training. Don't get cocky if you're a top producer and say, oh, I know what I'm doing now. Oh, yeah, that was me. I did that a long time ago. I say that mockingly because all my top producer friends, that's the way they talk in the beginning until they finally wash ashore beaten by the world of business like I did, only to realize you must have a core training process that keeps everybody, I say, inside the guardrails. Okay? So don't cheat your training because when you do, inevitably, you cause yourself problems. So see, the well-lit path from a coaching perspective, as I look at it, somebody will come to me and say, well, this didn't work for me. Or the other day, Allison's husband, Chris, says something, and he says, well, what about this scenario that could happen? I said, whoa, stop. Why is your brain thinking about that? Because at the basic plan, you haven't leveraged yourself by hiring a professional telemarketer yet. So you don't even know what scenarios will happen. You're trying to be prepared for a one-off, low probability when you haven't even taken care of the big rock in the jar, which was in his case to hire the telemarketer, to get her following the system, to get her to have some coachable moments where people say some nasty things. And until that happens, his brain is off somewhere playing games with him, procrastinating. That's what happens. See, so the training actually makes everything simple to follow for you, for the consumer, so that contextually when things get crazy, we have this wonderful safety net of a plan that we've trained on beneath us where we can pull everybody right inside that well-lit path, okay? Now, the last point here is if you don't cheat your training, you'll be there. But from time to time, you know what happens? Things get crazy. You lose control of a seller. The buyer goes dark on you. You thought you had a great relationship. Well, the point is always return to the well-lit path to success, okay? Don't panic. I can't believe how many of my mastermind members will get up in their head and they'll create a story. It's actually called a cognitive distortion. When we make up a story and we start to bring in all or nothing thinking and we make these dramatic statements. I have a friend of mine right now. I really, really want her to get a real estate license because it would be very empowering for her as a mom. And she has struggled with the test. And the global distortion is real estate's not for me. No. Test taking's a pain in the neck when you haven't done it for a long time, and it sounds like a foreign language. We just have to now identify the last percentage that we need, figure out what those questions were like, and I will help you. Because that's a plan. You see, so my brain now is actually afraid to go do things emotionally and globally because I'm aware of these cognitive distortions that creep in and they start stealing all the success. So I always retreat to the well-lit path of my plan. Always. And even if I don't have one in a micro way, let's say that I'm in the middle of hiring an agent and something goes awry with him. I say, okay, let's just calm down. Let's plan this out. Let's just get all the logic on the table. Let's organize it A through Z, and let's see if we can identify where it broke down. Just a process, right? It's a way for thinking. So ultimately, as you do this over and over, originally the well-lit path might be reading a script, following a simple 7-point infographic, a 6.1, an 8.1. Those are my 3 infographics. I just follow them. You become of service at such a higher degree when you simply just read these things in the beginning to somebody because you're empowering a simple conversation of understanding. And everybody, when they go to buy or sell or become an agent for the first time, needs a simple understanding. They don't want to be embarrassed, and they don't want you to one-up them. And they don't really, I know all you resume thumpers. I have a long one too. I hardly ever mention my resume anymore in these processes because I'm so focused on empowering them with the plan. If they want to see what I sold, they can go to my website and take a look at it. Okay, that's enough resume. If you really want to talk to somebody about it, sure, I'll introduce you to some people. But here's the plan, with or without me. You want to know how I do it? Then you sign here, and these are the things that I will do specifically, and you watch me execute. That's it. That's how it goes. So let me reiterate these points, okay? It's an important subject here. The power of sticking to a well-lit path, full credit to Allison for using that analogy. I thought it was brilliant, and so did one of my agents, Jen, who was just learning. We put that up on the board. Number one is there is a danger of always being in a hurry as a small business person, whether you're new, hurrying to try to do your first deal, or you're a veteran trying to keep away from the alligators that are licking your ankles because you're spending so much dang money just to do more and more transactions and you don't even know why, and you don't even know how profitable you really are until once a year. Not good. Slow down. Think strategically first. Okay? It doesn't take that long. 2, train relentlessly on the plan for your business, and then the plans for the buyers and sellers are the best way I could summarize that point. 3, don't cheat that training once you're there. This is not the shiny object. The training is core and fundamental to the way the business works, not the techniques, the tactics, the softwares, the tools. Those are all things. It's not a plan. It's not a strategy. Okay? Those are things. Don't cheat the training, because inevitably in those cases, you'll be the problem. And when you do get lost, or something just naturally throws everybody off the plan, or somebody comes into you in chaos, return to the well-lit path of the plan for success. Okay? Let me summarize it this way. From new agents to successful veterans, everybody is in a hurry to do more, which encourages the habit of running a business on muscle, which inevitably leads to problems, lots of problems. The best solution is to stick to the well-lit path based on a clear, simple, and repeatable plan. All right, now, remember you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with a copy of our free strategic plan on how this business really works, 1 page plus some videos that you can go through, and it's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. freeagentgift.com. At least get over there, print out the infographic, and you'll have a framework for being more planned out and strategic in the business. Next, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also broadcast our live sales training calls. So we do get tactical, and you can see some of the strategic approach happening in a coaching moment. So you hear the training, but the coaching moment is we have some recorded calls, we listen to them, and we coach on those to help our members improve their understanding of how to articulate the plan, especially at the very first call. Okay? So you can see that on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 o'clock EDT. So remember to turn on the page and channel notifications for the Realty Classroom, and you won't miss the reminders. We'd also appreciate it if you would comment on our posts so we know what you're thinking and how we can further help you. I don't want to just have a monologue where I talk at you. I'll continue to do that if nobody engages, because it's just sharing what happened in a real mastermind, and hopefully you find it helpful. But remember one thing. Nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on your own business, and I will see you and help you in the next episode. Thanks for listening.